Hey, welcome back to the channel today. As you saw yesterday, I was actually out in Santa Paula, which is out in Ventura County. It's pretty close to Oxnard and Camarillo. Camarillo is actually where I intend to fly out of. There's a pretty active kind of light airplane club there with their own runway. And their own traffic pattern and everything. It's a pretty busy airport, and I was actually really shocked when I was taking my tailwheel training yesterday how busy Santa Paula is. I mean, there were RVs in the pattern and multiple pit specials in the pattern, and some of the RVs were actually like really hot RVs. Vintage biplane. I'm just shocked at everything that I saw flying yesterday, and you really have to be on your toes out in that area, just keeping track of where other airplanes are. They do a good job for an uncontrolled airport of announcing where they are. They use some landmarks kind of as those references, and it actually works out really well. They kind of report over the junkyard, and then they report over the golf course, and which really kind of helps you orient where the traffic is. And they report crossing the bridge. There was a few different ways, and I found it really interesting. They don't use tail numbers around there at that airport. Everybody talks about, I was in the blue and white Citabria, so everybody speaks to like what they're flying. It was a red RV and blue and white pits, and so that was really different. But anyway, I'm in the shop today, and what I'm gonna do is I've got this area here to fill, and I can actually do this with one piece of material. So I'm gonna get this piece kind of formed so that it's ready to clamp in here, and then I'll flip the fuselage over and do the other side. And at the same time, I've got this cavity cleaned out and ready to be sealed with some varathane, so that we can work on this, getting this piece covered here. And then when I flip the plane over, I'll do the same thing. I'll clean out this other side when I'm working on this piece here. And then I also want to get this bulkhead that goes right here, and get that made. See if I can show that to you here. It's actually this piece right here on the plan, and it is located right on that member. I believe the plywood is on the forward side of that RS 8 that goes across the fuselage there. And yeah, it shows right here the floorboard support. The floorboard support is this piece. The plywood is in front of it, and then you get another piece of RS 8, which is tapered to match the slope of the seat on the top side, and it gets a couple pieces of RS 9 on the front side, which are actually your floorboard supports. Yeah. So we want to work on that, and we want to work on these pieces, and yeah, there's a lot of things to do. I never have to wonder which part am I going to do today, because there's always more than enough. So let me stop rambling on here and actually grab the tripod, and yeah, let's make something here. All right. The varathane that I'm using is actually pretty thin, so I don't have to worry too much about. Whoops! It's time for the battery on the light. It actually gives you a little warning shot when it's time to change it out. So I think what I was saying was this varathane is actually pretty thin, so I don't worry too much about thinning the first coat. Some reflective light here somehow. There we go. because this actually soaks in really well. All right, so while the Varathane is drying in here, I was able to get it in this section, and then I flipped the fuselage over and I got the other side. That first coat is kind of setting up there. I'm actually going to come in here and I'm going to get the first coat on this side. And these cavities, probably could do this with epoxy. They're small enough where I actually think that's what I'm gonna do. That way it won't hurt to have a little extra epoxy in there anyway. So I'm actually gonna do this. I'm actually gonna do that with epoxy. So while this is getting set up, I'm gonna go ahead and start working on cutting this piece that goes right here. So all right, so I've checked all my corners, and this is actually my square corner here. The top is not running parallel to this one, so I have to work everything off the bottom. And we are, first thing I'll do is I'll rip this down to 6 3/8 as a height. That's the overall height of it. So I'll be running this edge against the saw. So I want to get my 6 3/8 mark here. 6 3/8. So let me get that cut first, and then we can go to the next step here. I'm going to use my. I need a couple clamps. It's just so much easier with thinner plywood to use something that's right up against the table to keep the plywood from trying to creep underneath the rail here. The 1/8 inch doesn't, but it does. There's a radius, so it does sort of jam a little. All right, and I'll go to the fuselage and get my width. According to the plan, it should be 24 inches. I'm going to use my measuring sticks that you've seen before that I clamped together to actually get that exact measurement. So, all right, let's see what we come up with here. (23 15/16). 23 15/16. All right, so first thing we've got to do is get this radius in here, and it is let's see here, 5 inches down from the top. So we'll come down 5. And it is a 4 5/8 radius. So we'll measure that out. Four and 5/8. It's me right there. It's going to use a piece of RS8 across the top, so I'm just going to mark that line first. This is going to end up intersecting it, so all right, so we got that. And then on the sides, basically we're going to come up square here to where we meet that line. All right, so I don't really have a height on what this line should be. Oh, I guess I do. It's at my same mark here. Let's double check this 5 inches. Yep, 5 inches down. And then that ends up being 1.5 off the bottom. So the side over here ends up being the same, 1.5. There we come straight down. we get 3.5 inches of RS9. We get a piece of RS5 on the backside. And then we've got 2 holes to drill. Those holes are for the basically for where the aileron control cables come in. They attach to this piece. So we're going to drill 3/16 holes, 5.5 inches from the center line and 1 3/4 from the bottom. So 1 3/4 down from the top. I said that wrong. But 5.5 off the center line puts us right here. And we're going to go 1 3/4. All right. We'll just do a quick double check, make sure we got that right. 1 3/4, 1 3/4, 5.5, 5.5, 5.5, 1 3/4, RS8 at the top, 4 5/8 radius, and then we have to cut. We've got to take some notches out, but we'll do that after we get this part done. So I got to get the drill press up here, drill these couple holes. I have to go to the saw here and cut these two pieces out. It's not 2 pieces; it's actually just one shape that has to come out. So yeah, let's do that. All right, so what I'm working on now is I'm getting a piece of RS8, which is going to be going on the top of that, and I'm actually just trimming it until it fits perfectly between these two members here. And I got to take just a little bit off. I'll do a little bit less than that. We'll test it again. And we need just a bit more. Still not quite there. Now we got it. Okay. So we got a nice fit there. Now the thing to do is the top of this needs to match the angle of the top of this, and I've worked that out to be 8 degrees. So now I just need to go cut an 8-degree angle on the top of this piece. All right, so it looks like my 8 degrees actually works out perfect. So I got a square line down there, and I'm nice and flush to the top here. So now this gets attached to our plywood, and then we'll put the other pieces, we'll get those cut to go on the bottom, the 3/4 and the other piece, and we can get that situated. I think we should probably cut the notches before we do that. And what I need to do is I need to take the piece here, and let's see, this is the bottom, this is the top. Let's keep the orientation correct. So we'll take this and we'll actually set it about where it's going to be. And I have to mark, got to mark the depth here and the depth here. And then we'll just take those measurements and we'll mark those on the other side. We know we're going to go 5/8 deep, so we'll come out 5/8 and we'll cut these corners out, and then we'll be able to get this piece, we'll get this piece in, basically end up, it'll end up centered on the top like this. Wherever that goes, something like that. And we can mark the middle of this and actually locate our center line here, and then we'll know exactly where we need to be on the side. So, and then it tapers back like that, because this goes in like that. So let's go cut some more pieces over here. Alright, we've got those two pieces now. Then we need some 3/4 by 3/4, and that's going to be 3.5 inches long. So we'll get that out of here. First we'll square up this edge. I like this edge better, so. Half right there. that so that I know that's for the screws for the floorboard, so that we want them to go this direction. So across the grain. All right, so this is my back side. We get this piece at the top, like so, sloping down, so the widest part of it goes to the top. So that'll get epoxy to there. And then also on the back side, we get this this piece and this piece. And then once we get those in place, and on the front side, this piece goes here, and this piece goes here, like so. All right, so that's ready for some action. All right, this is where we're at so far. We've got these parts all ready to epoxy together. I have both coats of varathane on the inside of these two cavities, so next time we'll be able to fit these pieces on and kind of finish up that front area. I got this piece cut here, which actually fits to the inside ply here. I'll do the other one. I'll flip this over next time and cut that, because I still have to prep the inside for epoxy. So I've got this to epoxy on, and I've got those pieces to epoxy together, and that's what we can get done with the time that I've allotted for today. So no problem, that's good. And yeah, I'd feel really good about that. So let me get some epoxy going, and you can expect a time lapse right about now. All right, so that's it for me today. Thanks for hanging out with me. I do appreciate it. and checking out the video. So we got this part done today, and we'll glue the front part on when it's actually in place, the little 3/4 inch pieces. We got both of these sealed up, so this can be covered next time. And then we got the first part of the inside plywood all clamped in place here. We'll do this one next time. And here I actually had to just had to put an 1/8 inch shim in front of that piece, and I'll describe to you why later. But yeah, so if you're not a subscriber, I invite you to hit the subscribe button, follow along, and I'll catch you later.